Wow. Michael, I have never been to the top of the rock before. The view of Manhattan is just incredible.
Yes, Janet, it sure is.
Mike. May I call you Mike?
If you wish. But I'd prefer it if you called me Steve.
Why's that?
Because that's my actual name.
Okay. Moving right along.
Hmm.
I want to ask you about angles of elevation and depression. I'm not quite sure what they are or what they mean. Care to enlighten me?
Well, let's start with a definition of each. An angle of elevation is the view of an object from a point in a different plane that is lower than the object. In other words, angles of elevation are always looking up, relative to the horizontal plane. By contrast, an angle of depression is the view of an object from a point in a different plane that is higher than the object. In other words, angles of depression are always looking down, relative to the horizontal plane. The next thing you need to know is that the angle of elevation is equal to the angle of depression.
So, if I understand correctly, if Jack is standing at a window on the 21st floor of the Empire State Building, and I am at the top of the rock, my view of Jack would be an angle of depression?
That is correct. And unless you have a pair of binoculars, you won't be able to see Jack. Pardon the pun.
Ha ha ha. You are so hilarious. So, relative to the horizontal plane, the angle between the horizontal and my view of Jack is equal to the angle between the horizontal and Jack's view of me?
You know, for someone who could not remember my name, you sure do listen and absorb information very well. That is correct. You can also think of the angle of elevation and the angle of depression as being equal alternate angles, since horizontal lines are obviously parallel to each other. Are you familiar with alternate angles and the other fun angles?
Alternate angles are in an N or Z shape, and, of course, alternate angles are equal when formed by parallel lines.
Yes. Let's look at that in a little more detail. Jack is standing at a window of his apartment building, looking up at Janet, who is standing at her apartment window at a point higher than Jack. Jack's view of Janet, from where he is standing, is an angle of elevation, measured from his view of Janet, relative the horizontal. Conversely, from where Janet is standing, her view of Jack, relative to the horizontal, is an angle of depression. The angle of elevation equals the angle of depression, since alternate angles formed by parallel lines are equal. I'm afraid I have to go now.
Okay, well, thanks for your time, Mike. I mean, Steve. Thanks for your time, Steve.
You're welcome, Donna. I mean, Janet.